Hi everyone, my name is Michelle. I am the author here at Hearthside Blog. I've been going through all my old posts and trying to make them into a video copy for accessibility reasons. This one's going to be a bit of a difficult one. I called it The Words of the Dream, and it's basically a dream or meditation that I had and images that came up and just sort of how I interpreted them. So it's going to be a bit difficult for me to explain this one. It happened some time ago and it's not fresh in my mind. But I'm going to try my best. So I've been stuck on this thought. And it's a sort of ancient thought, half-formed in the collective consciousness of the ancestors, thousands of years ago, before the beginning of agriculture, or perhaps at the very beginning of agriculture. It was then that awareness was a seed that was planted in the green earth, where it could grow. But just a single seed from a single plant, and before the thought had been realized, the same could be done with a whole field of seeds. Perhaps the knowing that if you planted one of the berries instead of eating them, that there would be more berries the following year. And of course, if you planted one seed of a plant for medicine, then the medicine would be greater the next summer. And this was the magic of the belly of Jord. Before the thought of Jord by that name. But she had a name even then. These ancient minds knew the power of the earth, and they knew her and they venerated her. And Jord's belly did not just spark new life. It was a place where life returned to. That deep chasm of swallowing earth, the mound, the belly of Jord, that had its own cycles. Longer cycles than just summer and winter, cycles of birth and death, the chthonic cycles of transformation. And deep under the earth, realization occurred, a sort of shape-shifting in which a seed sprouted, and which the deceased turned to ancestor. Awe at an almost terrifying and incomprehensible force, a force that needed name on the ancient tongue, a force where the ending was beginning, and where the beginning was ending. There, in the time where language was still young, words were still forming, awareness was like an extended dream. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take a break and come back to this, because my husband just walked in. Alright, I will see you in a couple minutes. Alright, let's see if I can pick up somewhere near where I left off. It's mid-thought, so let's see if I can recenter myself. Deep under the earth, realization occurred, a sort of shape-shifting in which a seed sprouted, in which the deceased turned to ancestor. Awe at an almost terrifying, incomprehensible force, a force that needed name on the ancient tongue, and a force where the ending was beginning, where the beginning was ending. And there, in the time when language was still young, words were still forming, and awareness was still like an extended dream. In that dream, a single seed in a calloused palm, then dug into the deep fertile earth. The smell lingered in the air as the surface was breached. Delicately, the seed finds its home there in the pit that was dug by caring hands. The process is steeped with purpose and awareness, and softly the earth is folded over that seed like blankets against the winter's harshness, tucked in warm and safe, and the dreamer blinks. The world has changed. The harsh cold has come, and the time to follow the animal, to be animal, to survive without agriculture. There aren't any food stores to stay in this place. The first frost lingers. It is time to pack up and follow the herds. The first snow falls, and somewhere in the dreaming there are thoughts of the Arctic hare, and how it with its large feet manages to glide across the surface of the snow. And some sort of inspiration sparks, with big feet perhaps. Then humans too could float on the snow, and someone somewhere creates from wood the first skis. And there Uller lingers, on the edge of the trees, his name yet not uttered, but his power already known. And with these wooden feet the dreamer can move more swiftly in the snow, capture the herd, hunt and survive. Far behind and deep below, the seed is nestled safely in the belly of Jord, and all the earth is paused with bated breath. Tucked under the snow, it is muffled stillness. Animals hibernate. Jord herself lays dormant. All the whisperings of life fall silent, while the gods and spirits shriek above the north wind. And up there in the deepest dark of the longest night, the dreamers huddle around a fire to stave off the intense cold of midwinter. And around them in the forest the wolves howl, drawing closer, smelling the death that comes with a long winter. But to the dreamer, wolves are equal parts friend and foe, because the wolves too hunt in groups there in the forest, and when the wolves can't find the herd, then they turn upon the dreamer. The wolves sense the weakest ones among the dreamers. They smell the scent of death upon them already. Wolves don't suffer weakness, even in their own ranks. Still, if the dreamer was a little bit of meat from the hunt, if the dreamer has a little bit of meat from the hunt and a warm fire, the wolves might be lured closer, and slowly the wolves see another way of being. What if the wolf could pack with humans? What if they hunted together? With the combined competences of both, they could share the spoils of a more successful hunt. The wolf now sits gnawing a bone beside the fire of the dreamer. No longer that frightening and howling being that exists out there in the long sunless night. For the sun has returned, and the world is shifting. The seed is having thoughts of its own, the first sparks of transformation, and the awareness that the thaw will come soon, that winter's harshness has been survived. Slowly, the first crack in its shell appears. The dreamer is on the move again. There is a remembrance of that seed deep within the earth, so after another hunt, camp is packed up and the dreamer moves back towards that summer place. This time is in some ways more dangerous for the dreamer than the winter itself. Hunger knots the belly, and the meat diminishes along with the snow. Skis won't help now, crawling through the mud of the forest floor, gnawing on roots and bark when the meat comes to an end. Will the wolf now return to being wolf? Now that the meat is gone, turn on its human pack? Will the hunger bring on the illness before the chill leaves the air? Before the first shoots of spring bring renewed food source? And far below, the seed has put up roots, reaching down into that earthen belly, seeking the nutrients that will help to continue its growth. The ice has come off the river, and the dreamer sits hungrily with a sharpened stick on its bank, patient, because it is now fish or death. The pre-leaf lifts its head above the soil. The fish is caught, and so summer will begin. But not all the dreamers have survived. And now that the chasmic Earth's belly is thawed, it's time to dig deep again and bury there the ones who did not survive the winter. One dreamer clutches in death an acorn tight in their fist, and as they're laid to rest, so too the acorn enters the soil. And so the dreamer transforms into ancestor, and enriched by the body decaying there in the mound, the acorn turns to oak. This is transformation. Slowly the dream itself shifts from the dreamer, as the dreamer names the dream. Yord is spoken. Uller, too, is given voice. The gods are named. And another change occurs, for a spark has come to the dreamer, and now that thought of the seed in the ground has turned to one of seeds in a field, and agriculture is born. The dreamer is not now just dependent on the forest for survival of the harsh winter. Something has shifted, and gradually the words of the dream are recorded on stone and then parchment, and gradually it is not necessary to remember the words of the dream at all. And some of the dreamers don't remember the words. They forget the names of the gods, and they forget the connection with the land. So far removed from the dream that they forgot that wolves circle on the darkest night, and the wolves are still there. Hati and Skull circle closer. And the dreamer has forgotten the dream and forgotten their connection to the earth. The dreamer works against the earth without remembering that ancient connection that still binds them, and the wolves circle closer. The dreamer fails to hear their howls of warning. The dream has been fading so long and so gradually the dreamer didn't realize at all that some of it was missing. Slowly, the ancient words of the dreams faded, replaced with words like civilization, and then industry, and then corporation. And the first words of the dream faded. The first word of all to fade was the word for that deep earth belly, the place where life and death transforms. The word of the cavern, the hollow of the mound, that little hole where the seed is placed. Do you remember that word, dreamer? So that is what that post is, and I don't really feel like explaining it. So figure it out. See you next time.